Hey guys, Andy here. So it was only, within the last couple of days that I was sat here saying, I feel like I've not unboxed a device for ages, as I unboxed my OnePlus 8 Pro. And I'm back here again, this time with the Mi Note 10. Now, there is a Note 10 Lite and there is a Note 10 Pro. As I say, this is the regular Mi Note 10. And it was a bit of an impulse buy, if I'm honest. Every now and then they do these sales on the UK website, which is simply mi.com, maybe /UK, I'm not sure, but definitely mi.com. And yeah, they were just doing, I think it was like an Easter sale, and it was £319. And I thought, that seems quite a good price on what looks to be quite an interesting device. And I've just checked, and it is £459 right now. So that's a pretty hefty, I mean, it was like £80 off, I thought, so how it's that much more now, I don't know, but I mean, $319 seems like it was a bit of a good buy. So this video obviously is the unboxing. I might do it a little bit more like I did with the OnePlus 8 Pro, in which I did the unboxing, and with that I actually used the device for a day and then did first impressions. I might do similar, so we'll unbox this. It won't be as long, I might do an hour or two, just kind of fiddle in, I'll go and have me dinner, I'll watch some TV, and then I'll come back and do the second sort of first impression bit. But for now, let's crack on with the actual unboxing. I'm going to start off with something that I don't think I say very often, but just consider going over to patreon.com/AAUK, I think. All the devices I buy myself. I don't have any sponsorship. I don't have any companies sending. I get little gadgets sent to me from time to time, small, cheap headphones and stuff like that. But all the devices I buy myself, which I have no issue with. I like that I've not got any pressure to say anything in particular about device. And I think you guys appreciate that I'm just going to tell you what I think. Hopefully you understand I'll be as honest as I can. But at the same time, it gets quite expensive. So I bought the OnePlus 8 Pro, which might be my main device, so kind of that justifies that purchase in some ways. But this one was just a curiosity thing. This Mi Note 10 was just, oh, it looks quite interesting. I'll take a look at that. And even if to be fair, because I got this at such a good price, if I decide to sell it on, I can hopefully not lose any money, maybe even make £20 or so. But most devices, I'm just going to take a hit. I've got another device incoming tomorrow. You might or might not be surprised by. So if you've not subscribed, make sure you do, because you won't want to miss what that is, I don't think. Well, actually, you might do. Well, you might be interested. Whatever, let's move on. Mi Note 10. I like Mi's packaging here. It's sort of understated, quite classy. That's really nice, actually. It's a really nice box. I wouldn't call it soft touch, but it's kind of a matte effect, I suppose. And it's sort of the thick, I don't know how you'd explain it. Is it like folded over cardboard? Is it structured cardboard? It's kind of weird in some ways. This one is the 6 gig 128 in Glacier White. It is available in Aura Green and Midnight Black. And it is also available with 8 gig of RAM and 256 gig of storage for £90 more, that being £549. That is, sorry. So there's the device itself. So there's the I kind of call it almost pearlescent white, isn't it? I don't know, I'm not. But it's an interesting, solid, just full black front. It's a reasonable weight to it, 208 grams, 9.67 millimeters thick. We've got a few more specs on the front there. 108 megapixel ultra high resolution camera. That is the most pixels I've ever had in a camera. Penta camera all scenario imaging system. 10 times hybrid zoom with optical image stabilization. And the hybrid zoom, they claim 50 times zoom in total. Which says 10 times hybrid, 50 times digital. So it's 5 times optical, 10 times hybrid, and you times them both together to get the 50 times digital. Honestly, I'm not going to hold out much hope for 50 times digital being any good at all. And I would guess that's to do with when you've got 108 megapixels, You can, no, but this is on a 5 megapixel lens, upscaled to 8 megapixel. How does that even work? Honestly, I have no clue. I think the proof will be in the testing, really, won't it? I'm going to get out there, take photos, and maybe even do a separate video on the cameras alone. I always find camera videos, I don't find them very easy to do, if I'm honest. So I want to do some comparison ones, the OnePlus 8 Pro against the Pixel 4. It's just a bit of a pain. They're not easy to edit together. Anyway, you don't need to know. You don't care, you just want to see the videos. I understand that. So I might do a separate camera video. We'll see. Otherwise, definitely it will be in the review. This video is kind of a quick rush over specs and a quick look. The review will have the detail and structure perhaps that you might be looking for. But yeah, they make quite a thing about the sort of camera system, and seems, we'll see. For I want to call it a £319 device, but it's not. It's a £459 device. But either way, the camera quality could be interesting. 6.47 inch 3D curved AMOLED display. Now, I'm not a big fan of curves. They don't look too bad, to be fair to them. We'll see. 5,260 mAh typical high capacity battery. It's interesting they put that. Not many manufacturers will say that. So it does say, I think it says on the website minimum of 5,100 and something, and the 5260 is the typical rating. That's interesting. So actually your battery could waver a little bit. Maybe you get slightly more, maybe you get slightly less. Let's pop that aside just for the moment. We'll come back and do some of the specs in a second. Let's just check what else is in the box. Just cut my fingernails the other morning. Now I can't get these things out because they were too long. But oh, all right, so there's the charging brick. Now I can tell you that will do 30 watts. And let's maybe scroll down to see the specs. Fast charging 30 watts, 58%, like it's plural, percents. You get 58 of those, in 30 minutes, and you'll get all 100% in 65 minutes, but in brackets advertised. This is taken from GSM Arena. Get all of my specs off GSM Arena. Well, to be fair, I got quite a lot off me.com today. And it says it's USB power delivery, obviously I'm showing that camera, USB Type-C PD, which is good because that's what my Pixel used and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll charge pretty quick off the same charger I used for my Pixel. But yeah, that's the brick, and interestingly, it's Type A on the brick side of things. Which way around that was supposed to have been? Was it that way around? I'm going to guess. I say guess. There's only two ways. I got it the wrong way the first time. It could only have been the other way. And there's just the Type-C cable, which I don't really need. So I've got lots of those. Let's have a look what is inside. So there's our SIM ejector. I think I saw it's a dual SIM. So we get a case. More and more providers these days are including cases, which is good. They're just simple. I mean, that is very simple. You don't get any more simple than that. And to be fair, it probably only cost them like, I don't know, 6p, if that. So kind of why not? It's very soft, but it will do the job, I think. Most damages you occur would be saved by that. So let's keep that out because I'll probably stick that on when we're rolling. I don't think there's a user guide and warranty notice. Not too bothered by those. In fact, let's just leave that. Put that all aside for the minute. Keep the case kind of nearby. Let's try. So I guess let's peel off. All right, we're going with the back first. So, okay. The back. Oh, right. Sandwiched it. Don't lose that. Right. Yeah, might as well come off now, I suppose. He says with his freshly clipped fingernails. There we go. So I think that's quite a nice looking device. Oops, get it on camera perhaps. Quite a nice looking device. There's that sort of lens array. That's a pretty big. Can you see that? Well, that's a pretty big camera bump. But feels nice. Feels a little slippy. As I mentioned yesterday, I've got quite dry hands at the moment because of all this hand washing that we're doing. We've got the power button on one side, volume rocker. That's also the SIM tray. 3.5mm headphone jack. Huzzah. Single solitary speaker, which I'm kind of okay with if it's loud, if it's decent. USB Type-C. I think it's only like version 2 of Type-C though, or something like that. I think. And I believe we've got an IR blaster. I don't know is that the IR blaster, and that's the microphone. I think. I really probably should have had it booting up while we were doing that bit of a tour. Let me have a look over the specs to see what else I might not have told. It's got an in-screen fingerprint sensor. See how that is. The chipset is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730, which is an 8nm, so that's got to be quite new, or 730G, sorry. 8nm is pretty thin for what I think is the mid-range. Is it the 730G that's going to be, they suggest might be in the Pixel 5? I should have looked it up. It's just come, someone put in the comments. Someone else will know. Drop in the comments. If you've just watched that, scroll down. Someone's answered it, I hope. Octa-core CPU, which is basically a Cryo 470 gold and silver. Adreno 680 GPU. I've mentioned the RAM and storage. It does have NFC. It says it's compatible with Google Pay. So that's quite useful. I've mentioned the IR blaster and the 3.5mm jack. The screen, I think I kind of half mentioned, 6.47 inches, but it's 1080 by 2340, which is 19.5 by 9 ratio, reasonably common these days. That's 398 pixels per inch, so that's pretty good. It's got Corning Gorilla Glass 5. They claim, well, it says advertised in brackets, 600 nits max brightness. I do have a light meter. I will be testing it myself for the review. HDR10, and it's got an always-on display, which I love. I love an always-on display. I'm missing it on my OnePlus 8 Pro at the moment. So did I fully go through the cameras? So there's the 108 megapixel f1.7, so that sounds pretty good. That's got optical image stabilization, and it's 25mm, which is wide angle, regular wide angle. 12 megapixel f2.0, 50mm telephoto or portrait lens, as they call it on their own website. So that's 2x optical zoom. Then there's this 5 megapixel upscale to 8 megapixel, 5x optical, 10x hybrid, 50x digital, whatever that one is. Then we've got a 20 megapixel f2.2, 13mm ultra wide, which no self-respecting good camera phone would be without. Pixel. We've also got a 2 megapixel f2.4 macro lens. I'll try and get some macro photos. It just makes me think, 2 megapixel? Take 108 megapixel and crop out 2 megapixel. It'll look like macro. Is it really, I mean, at 2 megapixel, is it worthwhile? I don't know. We'll see. The front-facing camera, as you can see there in the teardrop notch, is 32 megapixel f2.0, 26mm, which is wide angle. They also have vlog mode. The website doesn't really, it says something along the lines of everyone can direct their own life. Okay, but what's vlog mode? If that's their explanation of what vlog mode is, I'm still a bit in the dark. It's got night mode, which I guess is just a night mode like you get on a lot of cameras these days. Video-wise, the main lens will do 2K at 30 frames per second, then it'll go right the way through to 720p at 960, that'll be the slow motion. But I think even 1080p was up to 240 frames per second, which is pretty good. Front-facing does 1080p at 30 frames per second, kind of as you might expect. And then the only other spec to talk about really is software. It is Android 9, which is Pie, but MIUI 11. And MIUI has, oh look at that, increased text size. Choose your region, yeah. MIUI has been improving over the, years, I suppose. It's getting to the point, I don't know, I seem to remember, mind you, I don't know if I used 11, might be that MIUI 10 was the last one I used, but even then, it was getting quite nice actually. So I think, really, this is the point that I get myself logged into things, I get a few things installed, I have a bit of a play, and then I will come back to give you a relatively brief look over and comments on how I'm finding it, basically. So I've had a little bit of play with it, got a couple of things installed, been outside, taken a few photos, tried to understand all these different lenses it's got. Tried to find all the stuff in the settings. So Xiaomi and MIUI has always been well featured, shall we say, in the settings department. There's lots of different things you can change. Because they go by their own rules, though, you can't often find things. To me, quite well, I had to Google it. Where the hell are the gestures? They're in display, full screen, something. So I've got gestures on now, like you get in Android 10, which is fine. Always on display screen was really easy enough to find. What was the thing that I couldn't find? The app drawer. I don't think there's an app drawer. And in fact, I installed a couple of things and the icons didn't even appear on the home screen. So it was only by using the search bar, like Geekbench, that I typed in Geekbench and the little icon, I could run the app. I don't know actually where. So then I installed Poco Launcher. But let's start off. You can see the always on display look, and there's lift to wake, which seems pretty good. And then the fingerprint sensor is set up. It's not like the fastest, but it seems to be reasonably reliable at this point, and has done the job. And as I say, MIUI, I think, it's generally a nice enough looking operating system. It's reasonably subtle, reasonably clean. The gestures work quite well. Like I said, so this is Poco Launcher rather than the standard stock launcher. I mean, there's not much to see in the standard stock launcher. It's just a home screen with icons on it. That's kind of it, really. Poco Launcher is done by Xiaomi. In fact, when I searched MIUI 11 app drawer, there was an article on Android Authority. I think basically saying the app drawer is coming. You can install a separate APK to enable the app drawer. Then at the bottom it still said, you can just install Poco Launcher, which is basically Xiaomi's other sort of launcher software. Which I thought I'd just install that then, I suppose, and use that instead. I still feel like it's the Xiaomi experience. It generally seems pretty quick, which is quite interesting because I ran Geekbench 5 and it only scored 1,708, which is below, well, was it the K20 Pro? I'll try and remember to whack some other scores up in the sort of corner there. But it's not a massively good score, but I think, but I think more important is, I see the different, Poco Launcher's got different categories along the top, look. Yeah, why not? More importantly is just sort of the feel of the OS. And it generally seems quite slick and smooth. But yeah, not an amazing Geekbench score. As I said, there's loads of options. Things like, so we've got the teardrop notch, which isn't actually that visible on that wallpaper because it's quite dark at the top. But you can hide it by either having it just black in the whole top. You still have the icons and things, or you can have the icons, have it all blacked in and have the icons moved down as if there was just a bezel like an ordinary phone with no notch at all. Because just I don't mind teardrop notches. I don't mind notches in general, but some of them can obviously be a bit... and this is going to make me sound like an Android fan, but I don't like the way Apple did it, which is kind of a long, thin. I mean, that's almost just having bezel. I actually, as horrible as it did look, kind of preferred the Pixel way of just having it deep. Well, I didn't, because deep was terrible as well. But maybe you get what I'm saying. I don't like long... So a little teardrop, fine, I've no problem with it at all, because you've still got loads of space either side for notifications and the clock and icons and all that. So yeah, loads of options in the settings. I don't really know there's many that I can particularly show you, but well, I could show you them all, but at the same time that would take a really long time. Things like, I think there's a second space. I think I've seen that somewhere where you can have almost like a different profile and different apps for that thing there on the one device. Always on lock screen, we've got a few different options. Oh, quite like that. Look, can we go to that? Yeah, let's go to that. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of your classic example. Look how many options there are for your always on display. I mean, it's kind of crazy, really, isn't it? And that perhaps gives you a raise to wake, double tap screen to wake. Yeah, there's just so many different options, which makes it a little... So there we go. I could just really quickly change. Or can I? I thought I could. Yep. System launcher. So this is the system launcher. Oh, so Poco launchers, but it's where the Geekbench. I don't know where. There's no swipe up, but if I type in here, then the app appears. So I don't really. But Poco launcher's there. So why? Now, how easy do I get back to? I mean, maybe so default launcher, there we go. But maybe you see now, I mean, as I say, it's generally, it's quite slick and smooth. Lots of options. Pre-installed apps. So, for example, TikTok was pre-installed. It let me delete that. Let's try app info. So I have no idea what this. Put down the bottom, look, uninstall now. Yes, please. Uninstall successful, and it's gone. This is actually the same as the OnePlus 8 Pro with the notch. So where is let's continue watching.
Been thinking, and I really need to talk to you tonight. I'll call you at 11, Victoria.
So if I zoom it,
she's gonna dump me. Has anyone ever said?
you see how it's just basically giving me still a bezel down the left-hand side, so slightly unbalanced now. If we were to jump into YouTube, if I can find it, I guess it's in here, there we go. And let's... And I zoom in on that. It goes around the teardrop and we get a more balanced bezel all around. So that's a software thing, I suppose, rather than hardware. While we're here, we'll go back to my intro music. The microphone's up there, that's all One of the first things you notice is it's got a weird shaped box, it's very long. So, if I'm honest, the speaker's really not very good. I'll get a better idea. When I do the full review, I'll have used this for at least for 3, 4, 5, if not more days. So I'll be using it as my podcast player and stuff like that. And I'll have a better idea of how feasible it is. Some people don't care about speaker, fine. I do, I use it every day. The screen, I would say the screen looks really quite nice. Nice strong colours, no issues. We'll move on though, because the thing that could take a while, and maybe I won't spend too long on it, I guess, but the cameras. So I've been outside trying to work out the different cameras, lenses, and how they work. So a few takeaway points. Let's just talk about the main camera initially. I tried like an indoor picture. Looked pretty good, I thought. Well, I tried a couple of indoors pictures. One of me watching Homeland. Then I headed out into the garden. And generally, I thought the photos from the main lens, I thought they looked pretty good. The colours look quite good. The detail looked pretty good. Yeah, I mean, generally looked good. So then I kicked it up to the 108 megapixel. And I'm almost saying, well, what am I looking at here? I mean, I guess it gives you the kind of you can crop in and zoom to it, I suppose, because it is, I mean, this one picture that I took of the back garden was 12,000 by 9,000 pixels. Interesting. I couldn't tell you is it much different to the next picture? Or not really. The wide angle, to me that seemed very wide, seemed good. Loads of stuff in there. It looks slightly like the colours aren't quite as good as the main lens, but I'm not sure. Again, more testing would be needed on that. I tried the 50 times zoom. It's ridiculous. On a phone, it's just not a good idea. And again, for the review, I'll try and get some footage of me trying to use it. But basically, even with that optical image stabilization, the tiniest little movement means that you're moving by a whole screen worth. So I was trying to take a picture of the football deep in the garden, and I got a picture and it didn't look great. Again, it's not something I would use. You just haven't got the detail at that level of digital zoom. But it was just so hard to actually get the photo while the football was on screen. Worth noting at this point, I just throw in there as well, there is a little shutter delay when you hit the. In fact, let's have a quick look. Oopsie, I missed the quick look at the camera app. So in the regular photo, I'm going to drag that back and forth to change the zoom look. Can you see? So for that wide is really quite wide. I can just tap on the number. Oops, missed it. To go through the sort of default lens. So does it make sense? The default, the actual lens. There it goes, all the way up to 5. And you saw there a little bit of delay, and that's the same on all different lenses. We do get different options like videos, short video. I'm not really sure what the deal is just there. Slow motion could be handy for some. There's the 108 megapixel Ultra HD. Yeah, then we've got the portrait lens. Now I've set it so that I can take a picture using the volume key, and I held it as far away. You can see me stretching a little bit in the photo, trying to get my head further back, and took the picture. Actually, that's a really good looking portrait photo. If you were taking it of somebody else so you could get a bit further back, I mean, it's still not too bad. Obviously, such a handsome subject. But anyway, so yeah, if you're taking it off someone else and you can stand obviously further away and take the photo, I mean, hopefully I'll get to find someone that doesn't mind me doing that to use in the main review. Obviously, I've not been able to try just yet night mode. We'll see how that goes. You've got panoramic, and there is pro mode, which a lot of people obviously will really quite like. There's the macro look. Okay, so let's try, because that was one of my points, was where the hell is the macro lens? Oh, fair play, that is pretty... That is quite close. Okay, so I'll try, I mean, I think I said earlier, maybe I will try and do a separate review on just the camera. What I'm seeing so far from the cameras, they're pretty good for a 400 and a bit, well, £460 device. Yeah, I can see them fitting into that range, and you'd be happy with what you get. I think there's probably phones at that price where you get a worse camera, and there's probably a few phones at that price, one that's coming tomorrow, that might have a better camera. We'll see. We'll see in more detail. I've had more time to use it, and I've had more opportunities to take it in different conditions. Oh my God, we're up over 20 minutes again. I don't know, what am I doing wrong, people? Do you like these long videos? Would you rather I just got more to the point? Am I putting too much to, because I'm up over, I think I'm close to 25 minutes now at this point. I don't want to, that would put me off watching a video review, but I don't know, a lot of you guys do say you enjoy them, so who am I to disagree in some ways? So that's it for now for the unboxing and some of my initial impressions. The actual review could be 2 or 3 weeks away, if I'm honest, because I've only through like day 2 on the OnePlus 8 Pro, and I want to use that for a good week or so, ideally. As I say, I've got another mystery device coming in tomorrow. Follow me, subscribe to me on Instagram, Android Andy UK, and there'll be a reveal, I suppose, on there tomorrow, hopefully, when I get it. So I'll probably review that before this. So it could be 2 or 3 weeks before the actual review for this is done. So hopefully I've given you enough to go on. Do drop comments down below if you have any questions on it. I will try and answer them. Make sure, obviously, that you've subscribed. Make sure you've thumbs up. Make sure you've rung that bell. Check out other videos on my channel. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.